Hello and welcome back to the channel. It is heat wave in the UK at the moment. It's absolutely boiling here. I think it's about 31 degrees. But we've got to do a changeover in the annex in this heat. But yeah, let me just show you the view. Pretty amazing view for our guest today. Not bad, not bad. But yeah, changeover. But in today's video, I'm actually going to not do a cleaning video. I am going to be cleaning, but I thought I would do my top 5 pieces of advice when setting up an Airbnb, if you're thinking of doing that kind of thing. I've been running an Airbnb for 2 years now. We are booked out 80 to 90% of the year. So I'm going to talk through some advice, 5 things you should do when setting up an Airbnb to make it as successful as possible. So I'm going to go through that as I'm doing my clean. Hopefully I remember everything I want to say. If not, if you have questions, put it in the comments below. But yeah, we're going to crack on, get this changed over. And like I say, talk about those 5 pieces of advice. I have plenty more, so this will probably be a whole series of videos. But let's get cracking. First piece of advice, and I think it's pretty obvious, but might not be. It really depends on the type of property that you have. But just to make sure that you have the correct planning permissions if needed. If you're running an Airbnb as part of your house, you won't need that. But if you have built an extension, a separate building in your garden, for example, it's an annex that's attached to your house that maybe is an extension, make sure you have the correct planning permission in place. So you will need to check with your local council as to what this is. You need to make sure it has the conditions under there that it can be used as a holiday let. Now, the reason I suggest this is because our annex here, that you'll see from one of my other videos, did not have the correct planning permission in place. So when we bought the house, the previous owners had built the annex. I think it was about 10 years ago now. They built it as an extension for family members. So it's not a separate building, it's attached, but it has bathroom, kitchen, living room. The bedroom's already part of the original property. So they'd originally set it up as accommodation for their elderly parents. They then passed away, so the space was not used. So what they did was started renting out on booking.com. Now the problem was the original planning conditions said it could not be used as a holiday let. Now, they would have known when they set it up that those planning conditions were there, but they just failed to update the planning conditions. You will want to update those planning conditions to say it to use as a holiday let. So we just had to do a change of use, essentially, which was annoying, cost us a lot of money, several months of work, but it's done now, and now we have the correct planning condition in place. So double check you will do that, because otherwise the council can enforce you to close it down, and they may even reject the change of use. We had an objection from a neighbour who didn't like it, said it was noisy. They had loads of complaints. It's in my other video. None of them were true, but luckily the local council saw how popular our holiday let was, one of the most popular in the area actually. Didn't see any issues with noise complaints, things like that, because we have quiet hours set here. We don't want the noise, we are attached to the house. So yeah, they couldn't reject it. So that's been approved. Our place can't be closed down. So that's my first piece of advice. Make sure you have that in place. My second piece of advice is the platforms you need to be on. So you want to be on what I call the big 3. So booking.com, Airbnb. And then the final one, which I think a lot of people miss, is Vrbo, which is owned by Expedia. So you're getting the big three there. Obviously Booking.com, one of the biggest when you look for somewhere to stay. You're searching, places to stay in X, Y, and Z. It comes up at the top. And then obviously Airbnb, people are looking for places that are home away from home. They're going to go onto the Airbnb platform, so you want to be listed on there. And then Vrbo is covering that Expedia side of things. Now, we get 80% of our bookings from Booking.com. It's because that was the platform the previous owners put it on, so it already generated quite a few bookings already from there. So it already been built up, had 50 plus great reviews. So that's whenever we get the biggest amount of traffic and biggest amount of bookings. And then Airbnb is one they hadn't set up, so I had to start that from scratch. And the problem there was that because Booking.com was so popular, the key dates that people would want to stay from Airbnb were already booked. So it's taken a little longer to get Airbnb going, and that is more of the summer months for Airbnb. And then Booking.com is kind of all year round, but we get a lot more like business bookings from Booking.com in the winter. Now Vrbo is probably the one we get the least bookings on. Probably had 3 bookings on there now. But again, the problem is because we're booked out so much already, Vrbo would be the least because the dates that people look for, most popular dates, are already booked and gone. We get booked out on Booking.com a year in advance sometimes. Like Christmas this year is already booked. So yeah, those are the big 3. I think Airbnb is the best one because they vet the guests. People have reviews left. I have it set so that if you don't have any reviews or you're new to the platform or you have bad reviews, you can't instantly book. So I can vet people before they come and stay. Booking.com is great, a lot of bookings, but they do not vet the guests. And some of the worst guests we've had, people who do disgusting things, who have been disrespectful, people we've had to almost call the police on, are from Booking.com because they don't vet their guests. And also people on Booking.com can book on behalf of other people, so the person staying here isn't necessarily the person who's booked it. But yeah, so those are the 3 platforms. Airbnb is definitely the best, but Booking.com is where we get all our bookings. You've now set up your place, you've got it on those platforms, and what do you want to do next? You want to set up discounts. Discounts are really, really important. Each platform is different. I'm going to mainly talk about Booking.com and Airbnb. Booking.com has a variety of discounts that you can apply. So they have a thing called a Genius account. So people who have used Booking.com a lot, they can have a Genius account and they can get like 10% discount on Booking. So you want to make sure you're part of that program. It will help you to be pushed to the top of the search engines for Booking.com. You can then apply a whole host of different discounts. So last minute bookings is a good one to do. You've then got ones where people book far in advance, like last minute Black Friday deals. There are a ton of them that you can do. It is worth remembering that they stack. So someone might have a Genius account, they 10%, they can then stack a 20% on top of that and things like that. So they can end up getting a pretty big discount. So be mindful of that. There is a place in Booking.com as an owner, you can see how they stack and what the discounts would be. It's really good to do the discounts. You will get more bookings because of that, but make sure you look at the price. Make sure that you're still going to make money from it essentially. So make sure you do that. Airbnb has promotions. So you can add a custom promotion onto a date. This is a really good idea. And then you can set the amount. So it can be anything from 20% to 30%, whatever you want to do. You want to make sure this is above 20%, I think it is, so that it pushes it out to people. So when you add a promotion, Airbnb will push it out in an email to their guests, and it will sort of highlight it to them. So if someone's looking for somewhere to stay in this area and you add a promotion, it pushes it to the top. I find this quite useful to do. So if I have a date coming up that I want to fill, I add that promotion in the hope that any last minute people will book. So definitely worth looking at the discounts, but like I say, just double check, especially on booking.com, when you apply those discounts and they stack, is it still going to make you money for the night? Because I've been caught out before where someone got it at a ridiculous price and I was really annoyed because I just hadn't realised they'd stacked so many of the discounts on top of each other. But yeah, so third tip is your discounts. So my next piece of advice, and this is probably the most important one out of everything I'm going to share today, is allowing one night stays. Now, I understand that for some people that's not going to be possible just because maybe you're having to hire a cleaner to help you, all sorts of reasons. But my biggest piece of advice is one night stays. The reason we are booked out 80 to 90% of the year is because we allow one night stays. So many places have a minimum 2-3 nights. You're not going to get as many bookings because, to be honest, when I go somewhere, I might just want to stay one night. I don't necessarily want to have to stay 2 or 3 nights. So definitely allowing the one night stays. You also make more money that way. If you imagine a one night stay, say it's £100, you've then got a cleaning fee on top of that, another 35. Obviously there's expenses and commissions and other things going on there, but you've then got £135, for example. If you then allow a multiple night stay, usually people will get a discount on top of that, and then you're looking at only one cleaning fee. So let's say that's 3 nights, £90 we're allowing for a discount. So £270 for 3 nights, then a cleaning fee on top of that. Let's say ballpark £300 for 3 nights. If those were all one night stays, that's £135 per night. That's 390, nearly £400 for those 3 nights. So yeah, definitely allow one night stays where you can. We get so many more bookings. Yes, it is more work, but I've been able to do my business so that I'm here, I can plan ahead, I do the cleaning so I don't have to think about a cleaner. I can come in and do it. Probably takes me 2 hours maximum, maybe less if they've left it in a really good condition. Typically one night stays do. I mean, how much mess can you make in one night? Well, some guests make a lot, but typically you're not going to be cleaning as long as the longer stays. So definitely allow one night stays because your competitors aren't doing it and they're missing out, and that can be your advantage. So the final tip or piece of advice I have is, once you've got it all set up, chosen your platforms, added discounts, is to also research what other rental properties are charging in the area. So do a search, see what they're charging, work out, okay, how much do I need to make? How similar is my property? Would the same pricing match? Things like that. You also have something on Airbnb where you can set it so it will do that for you, essentially. It will look at the pricing, work out what you should be charging, what it should be each night, and then it will also adjust it for you. So you can set it so it will go up and down accordingly. And then you can also set it to have a low price and then a top price so that you know what you want to charge essentially. But yeah, that's my final piece of advice, is just do your research really. Look around at what other people are charging. There you go. My 5 pieces of advice if you're starting up an Airbnb. I hope you found that useful. If you have any questions, just comment below. Let me know if you would like more videos like this, tips, guides, behind the scenes. I'll keep doing this. I'll be posting every Wednesday. So make sure you subscribe so you get a notification when the video's gone live. And I'll be doing more of these in the future. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.